Okay, straight away, self-awareness. Can a big deal? What's the big deal about self-awareness? You know, you hear relationship coaches and counselors talk a lot about self-awareness. It's not over exaggerated. What's that word now? It cannot be overemphasized. Exactly. The importance of self-awareness cannot be overemphasized, you know, because it's the foundation for true lasting transformation, personal transformation. How do you get transformed when you don't even know what state you're in and then what state you need to get to? Do you understand? So it's self-awareness that helps you realize that, hey, this is not me. I'm not operating optimally. Like, I could be better. Like, I don't like this feedback I get about myself. And, you know, I want to be better. All right. It's that awareness that empowers you to undergo a process of personal transformation. So it is very key. It's very, very key. And if you don't even know who you are, how would you know what kind of person is a good partner for you? How would you know who is a good fit for you to get into a relationship with? All right. So we cannot overemphasize the importance of self-awareness. Just before I continue on self-awareness, I want to talk just a little bit. I just want to define the concept of the flourishing you, what it means to flourish. All right. And I just try to look up it's an English word, try to check it out in a number of dictionaries. You know, it's a basic, simple word. Yeah. I just wanted to present it as it appears in the dictionary. All right. So the Oxford Languages says, for a living organism to flourish, it means to grow or to develop into a healthy or a vigorous organism. All right. Healthy or vigorous. Vigorous means something that is strong, is full of strength, is forceful, is healthy. All right. Cambridge Dictionary says to grow or develop successfully. The Longman Dictionary says to grow well and be very healthy. We're defining the word flourish. All right. Collins Dictionary said to be in a vigorous state, to thrive. All right. To be in one's prime, the height of fame, excellence, and influence. All right. Now that's what it means to flourish. So when we're talking about flourishing relationship, we're talking about, in this case, because it's a focus on marital relationships. We're talking about, you know, what role self-awareness plays in helping you achieve that healthy and thriving relationship, that successful relationship, that relationship that of a truth is the envy of onlookers and everyone around you. Do you understand that? So it is possible, and that's why I always say that a blissful marriage is possible and you deserve it, because a number of people have exempted themselves from the possibilities, from the chances of enjoying love, of enjoying blissful marriage. And you won't blame them just yet, all right? Because, you know, if you follow the conversations we're having, you discover that a lot of influence, negative influence, has been exerted on their minds, especially from upbringing, all right? And growing up through all of those foundations, it begins to affect the way they see the world and the way they see love. All right. So that's why we're here to inspire you that it is possible. You need to know it's possible, and let that awareness that a blissful marriage is possible, let that awareness drive you to want to find out how to achieve it. All right. And if you listen with us long enough, you will find all the nuggets, all the steps and everything you need to know about achieving a blissful marriage. All right. So that's what it means to flourish, to be vigorous, to be strong, to be full of energy, to be vibrant, to be alive, to be thriving, all right? Not to be in a weak state. There are some relationships that you see and you feel very sorry for the people who are in them. I remember asking a young lady one time, you know, so how you doing? How's your boyfriend? How you guys doing? And she's like, you know, and I'm like, what do you mean? What's that? You know, she's like, just there. And I said, okay, how about marriage plans and all that? How is it coming? And she's like, God forbid, I can't marry this one. I'm like, really? Okay, so what are you guys really doing? Yeah, we're just dating, but no, God forbid, I can't marry this one. I'm like, what do you mean by just dating? And then you can't marry? Like, my God. You see how people pile up complication and confusion into their future? By dating people you have no business dating. At the end of the day, you are picking up their mannerisms, their bad habits, their frustrations, all their negative belief systems, all the bad experiences, you're picking up all those things, they will start impacting on your mindset about love and relationship. And then by the time you meet someone who's supposed to be the proper person for you now, your mind has been so messed up by an unnecessary relationship. And you say, we're just dating. Like, what is that? You see, so when you look at some people's relationships, you will see that, man, this thing is not going anywhere. This thing does not have any life in it. Like, what's the point? What are you guys still doing? But guess what? They're still there. Okay, many times they don't know better. Sometimes they know, but they lack the will. They don't know how to get out of it. All right. Anyway, so I said self-awareness is the foundation for true and lasting personal transformation. It's the foundation for every successful relationship. All right. You need to know who you are. You need to know where you are per time for you to be able to rightly plan for where you want to be next, for you to plan what destination, what the goal is, where you want to get to. All right. Very key. We cannot overemphasize that. All right. Knowing who you are is what will determine, what kind of people can go on your journey of life with you. Pastor Kingsley likes to use the analogy of cars. All right. If your purpose requires you to be swift and very fast, all right, the kind of car you're most likely going to be is a sports car. There's no space for a lot of people. There's no space for load. Max 2 people, a heavy engine, very fast engine, and then it's very low and close to the ground so that it can take off. All right. But if for your purpose, you need to be rugged and you need to carry a lot of load, you're most likely going to be a truck or a Hilux, so that you can get into those terrains and, face the roughness, as it were, and achieve your purpose. So the question is, if your purpose is for you to move at the speed of a sports car, but because you see a very beautiful truck out there, you start envying that truck and saying, oh, I want to become like that truck. Oh, that truck is so appealing. I want to turn me into that truck. You will spend your years in frustration because you're trying hard to be something that you are not. You're trying hard to run a race that you are not wired for. You see how important this is, but understanding that this is who I am, this is the kind of assignment I'm here to carry out, these are the kind of things that I'm here to do on earth. It helps you to be focused in achieving your goals. That's exactly what it does. All right, so let me go on and just read a number of things I wrote down. I'll try to follow my notes today so that I cover the way I intend to cover it. All right. Okay. Oh yes, thank you for the love. Oh, self-awareness helps you to identify your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats. The SWOT analysis, right? Some people think it's only for business you do SWOT analysis. No, you should actually do SWOT analysis on yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the areas you thrive at? You see, these things sometimes look boring when you're just sitting down engaging with yourself, but they're very fundamental. They're very important. Many people escape these moments to sit by themselves, just because they want to be carried. They just want to enjoy the company of someone else. They just want to be distracted with every other thing, but not themselves. It's just like somebody who has exams, a student who has exams coming up, and they don't want to read because it's just stressful and it's just, they just don't want to bring themselves to that moment where they have to read and study hard to pass their exams. So what do? They go about visiting people. They're playing ball in the field. They're playing video games. Up till one night to the exam, they are still playing games. Why? Because they just lack that emotional fortitude, that strength to discipline themselves and say, you know what? Now let's face this book and let's read. And then what happens in the exam hall? Of course, many times they fail. Unless you're just a genius, right? But if not, they fail that exam. That's exactly what's happening with so many people's lives. You are required to sit down and have this conversation with yourself. All right? Especially once you start becoming from teenage into adulthood. You need to have these conversations. You need to know who exactly you are. If not, you would fail in the exam of life and you will keep struggling. And the way life is such that you would not cross a particular level until you learn the lessons from that level. So guess what? Your age will be growing. All right? You'll be getting older per day. All right? But you will be emotionally a wreck. You'll be emotionally a child. You'll be emotionally that small baby or that teenager that you were. And until you're ready to go back to that point and then start building capacity, you'll just grow old in age, but you would not grow up. All right. Growing old happens naturally. Growing up happens intentionally. All right. That's work. That's discipline. You have to apply yourself to grow up. But if it's just to grow old, don't worry. Just eat, sleep, be healthy. You will grow. You will grow old. All right. But if you want to grow up, you have to be intentional. You have to put in the work. All right. That is how you will develop. So let me go on. So last week we took time to break down, the basic concept of upbringing. Okay, you've heard us say severally in therapy that three major factors that influence everything you're doing as a person. Number one is your upbringing. Number two is your environment, and number three is your significant emotional experiences. You've heard us say these things, but sometimes we don't really break it down. So I started doing that last week, emphasizing that the fact that you grew up into a particular environment and that was all that you knew, that was how you met life, all right? That doesn't mean that particular system you met is the right one. But as children, somehow your immediate environment, you just believe that is the best place in the world. The way your mother cooks rice, you just believe it's the best way rice can be cooked, until you go somewhere else and you taste another one that is really nicer than that your mother's own. But sometimes they will not allow you to tell your mommy that food was very sweet, because her food is supposed to be the sweetest one in the world, right? Yeah. So that's how it is sometimes, right? Everyone is born into a family, an immediate environment. And what happens is that immediate environment are the first usually to influence your mind. When children are born, right, they are born plain, just like a blank sheet. It is said that just about 20% of their instincts are activated, which are just the basic things they need to do: to eat, to feel their mother or caregiver, to cry, and, just that 20%. The rest of the 80% is going to be filled up by their environment. All right. They're like a blank sheet. All right. Whatever is going to be on that canvas, that blank canvas, is what the environment is going to start programming, start stamping on that canvas. All right. So the thing is that you don't know it, because this is all you knew from when you started getting conscious of yourself. And you just believe that is how the world works. That is how life is. Whatever things you saw about family, you believe that this is how families are meant to run. Whether it was good, bad, or ugly, you just believe that, no, this is how it happens. Okay, whatever you saw your parents do at home becomes for you the model of how marriages are supposed to be. Many times it's until you grow up and start interacting with other families that you see that, people do things differently, and perhaps you even prefer the way some other people are doing theirs than the way it happens in your home. I remember somebody who was surprised the first day they got to, they visited the family, and they saw the family members sharing a hug among themselves. Oh, you're welcome, and a peck, and the guy was taken aback. Like, what's going on here? Una no see each other for morning. Like, didn't you see before you left the house? Why are you hugging? Did you travel? Like, what is the special occasion here? And they're like, no, that's how we greet each other here. And it was shocking to this guy, because in his own home, the only kind of relationship that exists between father, mother, children is an authoritarian relationship. Father enters, you greet, good morning, sir. You have no business smiling in the home. What are you smiling for? Are we playing here? No joy. Do you understand? That was what he grew up knowing. So the only form of relationship he had to have with his parents was instruction and obedience. Do this, yes sir. Don't do this, okay. No point, no meeting point at any time that the family just gathers and we're gisting what? There was nothing like that. All right. It's either the parents are dishing out instructions, and in this case, there was no relationship with any family member. That was all he knew. So everyone grew up caring just about themselves. All right, because there was no bond within the family, there was no acceptance within the family. It was just by providence, we are all one family, so let's just exist together. But there was nothing emotional. And this guy was shocked seeing another family that people went out in the morning, came back in the evening, and they're hugging each other and giving each other a peck and smiling and, and gisting and playing. It was impossible. Till date, I still know that there are many families that have no business sitting down together in the living room, doing anything at all. Not even watching the television. Not even discussing their day of politics or sports or something. There are so many families like that. The challenge is that this person who grew up in that environment has come to believe that this is how the home is. The father is the king and the lord and the judge. All right. The mother has no choice but to do exactly what father says. And then, of course, children have no choice than to do what father says. And then this person perhaps has witnessed how the father relates with the mother, dishing out instructions, shouting at her sometimes, embarrassing her sometimes. And this is the concept that is established in this guy's mind as the way a man is meant to relate with a woman. And no matter how this man speaks to his wife, the child is there observing that no matter how daddy talks to mommy, she's always there saying, okay, daddy, okay, sir. She will kneel down and serve him food. She would, before he coughs, she would jump. Everything he says is what she's doing. She doesn't have an opinion. And then she will even tell the children, your daddy has said this. You have to do it. You cannot challenge your daddy. And these are the concepts in his mind of what it is to be a man and a husband. Of course, you, the children, you cannot go anywhere. All right, you can't go anywhere. You can't say your friends are doing birthday. You want to go and do birthday. There is something wrong with you. Your father comes home and you're not at home. What do you want to explain? You see, so you grow up just understanding that in the home system, in the family system, in the marriage system, the man is king of all kings. The man is the judge and lord of all. You just grow up knowing that as your normal. All right, and then he can come back anytime he likes. Like, who are you to say, daddy, where did you go? Or daddy, you came back late. Or daddy, are you coming back today? It's getting late. Who are you to question? He does exactly what he wants to do. So imagine somebody coming out of this environment. What kind of mindset do you think has been programmed about love, about expressing of emotions, about being sensitive to a woman's needs, about how to relate, how to care about another person's opinion? How do you think that young man is going to, express all those qualities? He doesn't know those qualities. They're alien to him. All he knows to do is that when I decide to start loving a girl, she has to behave to me exactly the way my mother behaves to my dad, because that is the imprint, that is the programming that he has received of what marriage should look like. In some cases, it's the young woman. Thank you, Fair Blossom. In some cases, it's a young lady who is experiencing these things in her own way. So let me just paint another scenario for the young lady. Okay, so maybe in the same household, of course, there's maybe male and female children. And in a household like this, the mother has told the children, the ladies, that, men, they don't enter the kitchen. Men don't work at home. They are the men of the house. So you, the girls, you're the ones who have to do all the sweeping. You're the ones who have to do all the cooking, all the washing. What about the boys? No, can't you see that they're guys? Don't disturb boys. They're the men of the house. And at the end of the day, what should these men be doing? Absolutely nothing. Just wake up, lazy around, serve them food, they behave the way they like, they go out, come back, and the girls are the ones that you have to subject through all of those, learn how to cook, learn how to keep the house and all those things. And for the guys, you just make them feel like, because they're boy children, somehow they're not to be disturbed or involved in house chores. All right. Now, a girl who is growing up in that environment, what kind of guys do you think she will be attracted to when she's getting into a relationship? She's going to be attracted to abusers, because for all she has known, the boy child is a special one. He is superior. He is the one that you are supposed to, do everything for, and just tremble at his feet and just do his bidding. You see, so tomorrow that girl is wondering, but mommy, why am I the one having to do all the sweeping and cooking and washing, and this young man is just there going out with his friends? Me, can't I go out with my friends? And then your mom would land you a dirty slap. Like, who are you asking questions? My friend, go and do what I told you to do. You know, nobody is giving her any explanation. Nobody is giving her answers. She's growing up to begin to resent her brothers. You see that? So with that kind of relationship already being established, it means that there's no friendliness between her and her brothers. There's no friendliness between her and her father, because she sees how the father treats the mother. There's no friendliness between her and the mother, because the mother is just there to remind her of all that she's supposed to do, give her a dirty slap when she doesn't meet up, insult her, call her names, and just make her know that the man is supposed to be worshipped. Now, this girl grows up, gets into the university, and one boy comes and starts showing her attention. Oh, your hair is beautiful. I've never seen such a beautiful girl before. She'll be swept off her feet. She will lose her breath. Do you understand? Is it me that they are loving like this? Me that nobody in my house ever even cares to tell me whether my hair is fine or whether my smile is beautiful, or, and then somebody's out there telling her she looks so good. It scatters her head. Before you know, of course, she's in love with him. Because nobody has ever given her this level of validation, this level of acceptance, this level of, friendship. So of course she's jumping out with this young man, because in her mind, men are to be worshipped. They are superior to women, because of what has been modeled to her in her home. You see, now I'm just giving these random examples because these are the little things that people grow up with and then get into relationship, and they start living out what they have been programmed subconsciously. They don't know, they don't have to think it. It's just a program, it's just a software that is running. It's just how they relate. Do you understand? This is the kind of lady who will believe that she doesn't have a right where her man is. She doesn't have a voice. She does not have an opinion. She cannot say anything. She can't say her mind, because ultimately it has to be subject to what he wants, because that's what she saw her mother do with her father. Guess what? This is the kind of lady too that the boy will give her a dirty slap one day and she'll say, yeah, it's because I spoke to him somehow. Why? Because she saw her mother always receive slap from the dad when she spoke anyhow, and the mother still stayed there and was still loyal, and we beg, and the man will do shakara for 2 days, we not eat her food, she will beg, she will cry, and then finally the man will now warn her and he will forgive her. That is what this girl has seen. And then tomorrow you're complaining that, why are all these girls staying in abusive relationship? Why can't they get up and leave? No, you don't get it. In their hearts, in their mind, this is how love works. He only beat me because he loves me and I offended him. I watched an interview on social media, I guess some people saw it, about a lady who was saying that her husband beats her up, he even ties her up and beats her. And they asked her, will you leave? She said, no, that is because he loves me. How do you think that lady would live if this is the reality of her mindset about love and relationship? Now, why am I saying all of these things? Because if you are not able to trace what has informed your concept and your beliefs and your values about love and relationship, if you're not able to trace it and see whether it is healthy or not, and see whether it is empowering or not, you will grow up. You will grow old rather, but you will not grow up. You will grow old with the same old system that made your parents' relationship to not work. You grow up with the same old system that is responsible for all the heartbreak and all the quarreling and all the fighting and all the problems that exist in love and marriage, because that is what you have been programmed with. I hope somebody understands what I'm saying. So when we're talking about self-awareness, we're telling you, are you aware of the extent to which these fundamental things have impacted your concept, your worldview about life? Do you know that from the age of 7 to a very large extent, a child's worldview is already established on certain fundamental matters? From the age of 7. And then they just end up growing up with that same mindset. So when a child grew up in an abusive environment where there was no love, everybody shouts at each other, everybody fights each other, beats each other up, from age 7, it has already been programmed that this is how life is. This is how relationships work. That child will be 11 years when he will tear the first slap to the girl to his classmate that was just try him. He will tear the girl a dirty slap. Why? Because that's what he knows life to be. Do you understand? I remember one time I saw I saw a mother advising her boys. They were in secondary school. They were dropping them off. It was a new semester session or something like that, and they're dropping the boys off. And the mother told the boys, she was telling them, you know what I have been telling you? If anybody looks for your trouble, give them double. If anybody slaps you, and two of you join together and beat the hell out of the person. That's what she was advising them. Tomorrow you would wonder why this 12-year-old child is fighting and he carried bottle. It is because that is what he has been trained to do from childhood. And then you wonder how he will not slap his girlfriend when he's in a relationship. You wonder how he won't fight people around him when he's angry. What happened? He has been trained that in life, this is the way to go. Let me move on a bit. I think I've emphasized that quite all right. You know, last week I gave some examples of some things people consider as normal, which in actual sense are dysfunctional. Let me see if I'll just run through them. I won't explain. And then I would quickly touch on another area, the area of, I'll touch a bit on trauma. I don't want to do much about trauma because I have a full month that I have dedicated to talking about trauma. It's quite, a broad subject matter. So I'll just touch it a bit and, okay, I've seen my document. And then, I won't get so deep into it. All right. I'm still talking about your upbringing and your environment. All right. So let me read out certain things that, some common forms of trauma that people have to go through or that people went through, and they didn't even know it was a traumatic experience because for them it was just their normal. All right, remember what we said last week, how really normal is your normal? That thing you call okay, is that the ideal way life is supposed to be? Could life be better? All right, many people don't know that it could be better. So some things people started experiencing from childhood. One, abandonment and neglect. All right. Yes, your parents had to work hard. They had to make sure there was food in the house. They had to make sure you guys were fine as children. So all you know that parents are supposed to do is pay school fees, provide food, but personal relationship, zero. Sometimes you didn't see them for months. And in fact, they had to leave you, to be brought up by domestic staff. In many cases, where there have been child molestation, in many cases, is these domestic staff who start molesting these innocent children. And because the children don't even know better, in some cases, these caregivers train the children to think this is just okay. Don't tell anybody, it's just fine. Before you know, these people are doing these things for years. We see some of these videos online. Or is it the kind of caregivers that maltreat children, beat the living daylight out of the child, and do all those despicable things? I can't even talk about them. You see some of these videos online. Do you think that child would grow up as a normal child? Some of these experiences are actually very traumatic, but the person who is suffering it at that time does not know that it has a far-reaching effect. All right, let me give some more examples. I've talked about molestation, sexual abuse. In some cases, the children witness the parents fight, almost to the death. Both parents are beating themselves, blood gushing out. Children are begging, daddy, stop, daddy, stop. You throw the children away, you use their head to hit the wall. And, people grow up experiencing some of these things. Of course, those are traumatic events because at the end of the day, they impact on your emotions and your behavior significantly. Now, the impact of those experiences sometimes are seen in the future when this person grows up, and then it shows up in different ways. For some people, they are just withdrawn. For some people, they don't know how to express themselves. There's zero confidence. For some people, they start running around seeking validation any and everywhere. Just anybody who will make them feel important, especially those who have suffered abandonment. They just want anybody to prove to them or to tell them that they're important. And guess what? Even when somebody is showing up and trying to make them feel important, again, there's doubt because they didn't get used to this thing as children. They have a problem with trust. They don't believe anything somebody else is saying. So yes, it sounds good. It makes them feel good. But then they're saying to themselves, can I even really trust this person? Okay, and that's why you see some people sometimes they're in a relationship. 1 minute they're in, they're all lovey-dovey. The next minute they're withdrawn. They're like, don't call me, get out, don't talk to me. You know, and you're wondering, what has changed? Yesterday was good. What has changed today? What's happening is that they are afraid of that emotional vulnerability. They're afraid of closeness. They've never had to be close before in their lives. They didn't experience it as children. They don't know what it means to share healthy emotional bond with family, with friends. They don't know what it is. So they are worried. They are scared when somebody starts seeming to be getting too personal. Meanwhile, they like the person, but they can't explain it. I'm sure some of you can relate or know people in this kind of situation. What has happened is the effect of some of those traumatic experiences in their childhood. What about somebody who was always bullied in school? Maybe the child was a smallish child, and then is not the average size and height of his fellow classmates. And every time he goes to the class, these boys will come, they'll knock him on the head, this one will kick him in the back, and then everybody down there, they'll be laughing and jesting, and the teachers in the class sometimes would even join the bullies and laugh at the person. How do you think that child will grow up? What do you think their self-concept will be? Of course, those are the kind of people who are going to be very timid. That's just one of the expressions. They grow up very timid because people are always laughing at them. They're not good enough. They don't fit into society. Every other person is tall and big. Why are they small? They begin to question a lot of things. They begin to ask questions that they cannot find answers to. Do you understand? Why is my head big like this? I remember those days. Some of us, we all did these things those days. Where one of your classmates that has big head, you start calling them Edward, size 5. Or somebody that has big nose, you call, you just start giving them names. Thank God for those who were able to take those things as banters and it wasn't anything, especially among boys. But then there are the sensitive ones who these things will really get to them and, it will destroy their self-esteem. Guess what? When the teacher is talking in class and is asking, somebody should raise their hand and answer the question, they can't raise their hand because they know that once they stand up, everybody will start talking about their head. Everybody will start laughing at them. So these people grow up to be shy. They grow up to be reserved, not because they originally want to be reserved, but because they are afraid of the judgment and the bullying that they would receive every time they have tried to express themselves. You see that now? Those things become traumatic at the end of the day, because when they grow up, it impacts on how they are able to live life and how they are able to receive love and how they are able to give love. They become very sensitive. Once they see two people talking in the corner and laughing and looking in their direction, what are they going to believe? They're talking about my head again. They are laughing at me. And then they are sad. Maybe they wanted to go and play ball with the other boys. As they got to the field and took off their shoes and about to get into the field to play, they saw 3 people laughing there. Even if it was about something else, they just know that, it's me they are laughing at. And then you are saddened. And then, in some cases, they become very, very, what's the word now? Quick to fight. I've forgotten the word I'm looking for. Very aggressive, exactly. Because they see everything coming at them as an attack, as shame, as people trying to reduce them. So they become aggressive. That's how they fight back. And then guess what? One day somebody will innocently be laughing at something else. They'll think the person is laughing at them and they will attack that person. Why? Because shame, bullying. You see that? They've been made to feel like they are not important, like they don't fit in. I'm saying this because when every one of us have to go back on our childhood experiences, we will find some of these little things that we thought were insignificant, but somehow affected us to a large extent. There are many people who didn't find their self-esteem back till they were teenagers or maybe even adults. What am I saying? There are some people that until they got better work in company, they did not have self-esteem. They did not believe they can achieve anything good in their lives. Yes, a lot of people like that. And that's why these are the kind of people who, you see how they will hold on to that job, like it is their life. Like if you remove this job from me, I'm finished, I'm dead, I'm gone. Why? Because this is the first time ever, the first thing ever that is giving them a sense of self-worth. That's not a good place to be. Because these are the kind of people who are going to also be bullied in their workplace. Why? Because they will be afraid that if I speak up, I will lose this job. If I speak up, maybe let me just be quiet or let me just manage. After all, it's everybody that they're insulting like that. No. You see, somebody who is very healthy, someone who has a very healthy self-concept, will speak up when they're uncomfortable with certain conditions. But guess what? Because of what trauma has done to this person's self-esteem, when any good thing happens to them, they feel like, thank God, oh, I'm lucky. They don't feel like they deserve good things. They don't feel like they deserve the best. These are the same kind of people who feel like somebody is doing them a favor by getting into a relationship with them. I don't feel believe for my life. Say this fine girl go agree for me. Oh. Just imagine what somebody is saying. I'm lucky. Oh. You will do anything. You will lick the ground under her foot just because you did not believe that she will agree for you. Or is it the girl who did not believe that this kind of guy can ask her out, that any guy at all can ask her out? Why? Because all the people in her house always made her feel she was very ugly, she's very useless, she's smelling, she's this, she's that. So she does not believe she has any value at all. And then there comes somebody telling her, you're my sunshine, you're the best thing in the world. And she's wondering, this me? First of all, she does not believe it, of course, but it makes her feel good. So yes, she's confused. There are names for all of these things in therapy. It's just because, I'm not having a technical session here, but there are names for all of these things and how they impact on people. I can't believe I've not even gotten into my notes. Anyway, these things are just deep. Now, why am I saying all of this? It's because many times for your relationship to work, you need to first heal. You need to heal from all of these things that you have grown up, all of this baggage that you didn't even know you were carrying. That is how we encourage people to show up for premarital counseling, premarital coaching. Just show up. There are a lot of things you will find out. There are a lot of things you will find out about yourself, about your upbringing, about your parents' marriage, and why, certain things turned out the way they turned out in your life. I've seen this time and time again. Sometimes within the first 2 sessions or the first session with someone, they already go like, wow. Like, I would never have thought about all these things in my marriage plans. Yeah, is it not just to fall in love and marry? Like what's all this? Like, do you understand? They would never on their own have thought about the impact that all of these experiences and all of these things have done to their mindset. On their own, they would never have found it out. There are people who struggle with every relationship they get into. And I keep telling people that if let me just put it like this. If you've dated 5 people, if as a girl, all your 5 relationships have failed, and all the guys keep saying the same things about you, it's not because they conspired to badmouth you. No. By the way, these are people who probably did not even know themselves. But the feedback has been the same. What that should do to you is to let you know that the problem is not in love. The problem is not in the concept of relationship. The problem itself is not in all of those people. It means that there are basic things you need to pay attention to in yourself. And you need to introspect. They cannot all be wrong. All right? They can't all be wrong. There are basic things you need to pay attention to. You need to start asking yourself questions. You need to have sincere conversations with yourself. You need to have those trusted friends, people who can tell you the truth and are not afraid of your disapproval. You need to sit down and ask them, wait, how do I really behave? Am I saucy? Am I really nasty? Tell me, what do you think about my behavior? When you see me relate with friends and relate with customers and relate with people, what do you really think about me? You'll be surprised that your close friend, for the first time ever, will start confirming all of those bad behavior that you have that nobody had mentioned to you since, except those people you quarreled with in your relationship. Why am I saying this? When people have multiple failed relationships, the next thing to do is not to get into another one. What you need to do is to seek help. What you need to do is to seek help. Go consult a therapist. You need to see somebody and discuss. Talk with them. I was asking someone the other day, when your vehicle is bad, when there's a mechanical fault, what do? You take it to the workshop. You take it, let them check it out. Let them replace what needs to be replaced. Let them repair what needs to be repaired. Let them check what needs to be checked. When your health is failing you, your physical health is failing you, what do? You go to the health center. You speak with the professionals. But why is it that when your emotional health is failing you, you just believe that I know what to do, I will sort it out? It's my life. I will not discuss it with anybody. It's not anybody's business. I don't put my issues outside. Nobody's saying you should put your issues outside. Somebody is saying go and seek professional help. Because this is the same foolishness that has affected a lot of relationships till date. I don't discuss my matter outside. I don't discuss my personal life. I don't discuss my personal life. You are suffering in your relationship. Things are going haywire. Heartbreak back to back. And you're saying I don't discuss. But your life is already outside there now. Do you understand? So you need to seek help. Stop running away from therapy. And I know why some people run away from therapy. It's actually because there are, this is how I put it. There are those monsters in some part of your mind that you don't want to get to. You know they are there. So all you do is, every time you pass there, you just make sure the door is shut and you avoid that corner. Because you know that going right there is where the crux of all your issues are. But you don't have the emotional strength to take on that journey. In fact, you don't even know what to do. If you go there, that monster will devour you. So you avoid it. This is the more reason you need to speak with a professional, because we're going to help you to get to those corners of your heart, help you get to those places. Sometimes where people are trapped are in incidences that happened while they were 5 years old, while they were 3 years old, while they were 7, while they were 11, and this is somebody who is in their 40s. And you're wondering, why is it that it looks like I cannot love a man? Why it doesn't look like my relationships cannot work? Many times they are trapped in experiences of many years ago. And sometimes they know it, but they don't know how to address it. Or they don't even know that it is related to the things that are happening in their lives now. Let me share an example. It just jumped off my head. I'll get it back. Okay, I forgot it. But let me just create something. So, for example, if somebody was used to, if a lady, always witnessed her mother have to scheme her way through to get money in the house, whether for upkeep or for anything. All right, and her father always made her feel like women don't matter, women don't deserve to be empowered financially, so they have to always depend on their husbands, and then she saw how her mother suffered. Sometimes she will need personal things and the man will be dealing with her. He will not release money until she has begged and cried and met all his conditions. Now, sometimes that girl, witnessing that thing happening to her mom, she wouldn't know when she will make a personal decision that in this my life, I will never have to ask a man for money. I will never have to depend on a man for money. Is that a good thing? Oh, sure, it's okay, it's fine, this is very good. Until she gets into a relationship. She wouldn't know how far she has gone with that decision until she just discovers that when it has to do with money in her relationship, she's always at alert. She's always ready for a fight. She doesn't believe she should discuss anything with her husband. After all, she's working, she's making her money, she does her own thing. And the guy is wondering, like, where is that behavior coming from? It's because from childhood, unknown to you, you have taken that decision because of what you saw your parent, your mother suffer. You get that example now? So the truth is, there are many people who wouldn't know that A is related to B until they see a therapist, and then we'll start asking questions, and then we'll start digging down to childhood, we'll start digging down to upbringing, and then we'll discover that, oh, okay, perhaps it was that experience you had. It was these things that you witnessed severally while you were growing up that has made you into this kind of person that you are today. But what is the good news? Of course, there is hope. Of course, there is help for you. That is why we're doing all of this talk. That is why we're saying that you need to be self-aware. The things that you have called normal many times were the result of a dysfunction or a trauma, but you didn't know it. All right? I'm not saying that every experience in your life was a bad one. Of course not. All right. And then this is what confuses people. You say, but if not for all of those discipline and the ways that they treated me, I would not have become the person that I am today. Listen, it's not really true. Yes, you have become a great person today, but where it affects you is in your relationship with other people, especially your significant other, that one that you're supposed to call life partner. That is where these things start playing out. That is where you just discover that you don't know what it means to be emotionally present with this person. You don't know what it means because a part of you has been closed up, a part of your emotions does not know what it means to connect with anybody. All you know how to do is look out for yourself. You're in a relationship with somebody, yet your disposition is primarily selfish. You are always looking out for what you want. You're always making sure that things are going your way. You don't care what the other person thinks. You don't know that what's actually happening to you is the effect of trauma. So, is there help for you? Oh, yes. Can you imagine? There have been so many comments and I didn't even see them all this while. I missed a lot of comments. Oh my God, I missed all of these people who joined. Yeah. Anyway, so what am I saying? There is help for you. Now that you have identified this, my time is fast spent. Now that you have identified this, what can you do? What should you do? How should you get help? First things first, I like to tell people there is a place of knowledge. Start empowering yourself with knowledge. Start reading about that area of trauma effect or imprint, or that area where you're struggling. Start reading about it. Start watching YouTube videos about it. I know a number of people whose deliverance started happening when they were able to identify that this is the issue, and they started reading up about it. They started learning about it. They went on YouTube and started watching videos and videos and videos, and they didn't even know that it was a condition they had. All right. So I'll always emphasize the place of knowledge. Someone says, I need deliverance. If you need deliverance, then let us discuss. All right. Let us discuss about the session. Let's discuss about the session. Yeah. Many people don't know. Let's discuss. Send me a message later. If you don't get to the root of that issue, the truth is, you can even grow old, and never know what it is to have a flourishing relationship, because it is not in you to have it. It's not in you. It's not there. All right, and you can't wish away your past. That's another thing people need to understand. Yes, all these terrible things happened. Okay, another thing you need to know is that it's not your fault that these things happened. You did not request for these things to happen. For example, you did not ask to be born into the family you were born into. Do you understand? So don't start beating yourself for all the negative things you have experienced in life. Don't start giving up on life that, oh, my own is just finished. Look at me. Why is my life like this? Oh, people tell me this all the time. Why is my life like this? Things are working for other people. It's not working for me. Everything I try to do does not work. Why are my things always failing? No. Calm down. Listen. To a very large extent, the things that you have suffered as a result of your upbringing and your environment and some of those experiences, listen to me, it was not your making. All of those things have happened, yes, but the good news is that there is still a whole new world out there that you can recreate. Do you understand that? So yes, you've had a traumatic upbringing. You've had very terrible experiences. Your parents treated you anyhow. In fact, your parents told you that you are a mistake child. They did not plan for you. They were just they're having fun, and then they even tried to abort you like 3 times and you refused, and you still came out. So you're in fact, from the day you were born, they don't love you, they don't like you, they talk to you anyhow, and then you just feel, listen, that is not your fault. But the good news is that the fact that you made it out alive is simply because God has a unique purpose. God has a plan for your life. It is said that when there is work to be done, a child is born. You see, so you need to identify those things as where the reason for your low self-esteem and your abandonment and your rejection. You need to identify where it is coming from, and then you need to now heal from it. And in the healing process is part of what I'm telling you, realizing that that was never my fault. It was not my making. All right. I am better than this. Listen, from the point where you become self-aware and self-conscious, every other thing that begins to play out in your life is entirely up to you. If you got to this place of realization as early as 8 years old, good for you. If you got there at 11, at 13, good for you. If you got there at 40, good for you. But from the point you realize, listen, the rest of your life is left for you to begin to create according to what you desire. All right. And that's the next level of self-awareness. I've been dealing with, things in the past and all of that. The next level I'll be touching, is on how to now create the kind of life that you desire for yourself. A lot of people are living at the mercy of life. No, that's not how you're meant to live life. You're meant to live life intentionally. It's not whatever it brings. It's not whatever comes my way. I just manage. That's how it is. Anything we see, no. It's not like that. It's not like that. You are a creator. You are a co-creator with God. Do you understand? That is a quality that the Almighty shared with you. You are a co-creator. You have the ability to begin to create things. So yes, things have been terrible. Oh my God, you've made so many mistakes. You have suffered in so many ways. Trauma has almost finished your life. And now you're hearing this kind of things and you feel like, is there a new start for me? Of course, there is the opportunity for a new start. Don't beat yourself more than is necessary. It's time to wake up. It's time to tell yourself that I owe it to myself, now that I am aware, to begin to take deliberate and intentional steps to overcome all of these things that have held me down for so long. There are people who know that they have toxic behaviors. They know it and they have accepted it and they have refused to change it because they just believe that this is how I am. Listen, I'm here to tell you that that is not how you are. You are better than that. You are actually greater than you know. You are greater than you think. You need to know that. You are far better than you can think of yourself. There are people who don't know that in that stony heart and that unemotional outlook that they put out because of what life has dealt them with, they don't know that they are still very tender and love-seeking on the inside. But I'm here to let you know that you are not all your terrible experiences. You are not all your bad experiences. All of that was necessary to bring you to the point where you are now. All of that information about your upbringing, the impact of your environment and those experiences, the trauma, the dysfunction, all of that was necessary to bring you to the point where you are now. And you need to understand that everything in your life, the good, bad, the ugly, is all working together to make you into a person of impact in your world. It says in Romans 8:23 that we know that all things work together for good to those who love God and are called according to his purpose. You need to know that. So all of those terrible experiences, listen, you did not have any input in it, yeah? All right? But now that you are aware, now that there is empowerment coming your way, you can pick up yourself from there and begin to take all of the lessons from there, because trust me, what you didn't know is that irrespective of the negative impact those things had on you, there were also lessons. There were also lessons. Oh my God, there are priceless and invaluable lessons there that you need to pick up and begin to use in your life. Oh yes. Oh yes. I feel like I'm getting into next week's talk already. But you need to know that. You need to know that all of those experiences, all of those trauma, all of those things that have so impacted you that you feel like I could never sustain a relationship. I could never have a good relationship. Love is not for me. My marriage cannot work. I'm just a helpless fellow. I'm just a cursed fellow. Listen, all of those experiences, if you are willing to accept that, listen, all these were in my past, I didn't know better, and you're willing to pick the lessons from here, you would create, like they say, lemonade out of the lemon. You will create juice out of those experiences. You will be able to find the lessons. You will be able to see how to appreciate the toughness that has been built in you. You'll begin to see how to appreciate the fact that, oh, I didn't know how to be emotionally expressive all this while, but now that I know that this is what has held me prisoner all this while, I set myself free, and then my next relationship is going to thrive. Is going to excel because I know better now. I know that there's nothing makes me small by showing love. You know, the people who feel like extending love to people who reduces them. Just imagine those people who, as boy children, were taught that they should never be emotionally expressive because if you do that, you're a woman, you're a child, you're a baby. And then now you're discovering that no, all of that has contributed to making me the terrible person I was all this while. But now you can pick yourself up and begin to express love. Begin to show people that they are valuable and they mean a lot to you. Oh yes, you can start from there. Do you understand it? So it's not about all the doom and all the, oh my God, I'm finished and I'm just a terrible person. No, all of that is in the past. But from the point of consciousness and realization now, what are you doing with yourself? Okay, and that was why I said you need to start arming yourself with knowledge, because this is the point of recreation now. There's a new you that is being formed. A new you is being birthed, and you need to now grow properly. You now need to empower yourself out of that. It's just like how the scripture says, beauty for ashes. Do you understand? Now God is bringing out beauty out of your ashes. You need to now position yourself for the next level of your life. Your relationship can work. Your marriage can work. Listen, you are not a terrible person. I know you thought you were, but you're not a terrible person. You're not. What about the people who believed that... Sorry, the call was trying to come in. What about the people who believed that they were not deserving of anyone's affection? I'm telling you right now, yes, your parents may have misbehaved. Your parents may not have shown you affection, may not have shown you love. Everyone around you may have treated you like you were not important. But hear me today. The fact that you're still here and you have the opportunity to hear the sound of my voice is because you are special to your Creator. God loves you so much. You mean a lot to Him, and He wants you to know that your life matters. All right? So guess what? You can take your pain and begin to turn it into gain for other people. That love that you did not experience, you begin to share it now. You begin to go all out and look for people who are like you and begin to dispense love to them. You'll be amazed at the level of refreshing it will supply to you. It's already past my time, so let me just sort of round up, but I hope somebody has received value today. So these are the kind of things that when we talk about self-awareness many times, usually we don't go here. Just tell about your temperament, but at the end of the day, sometimes it doesn't. People just know it without it's like head knowledge, and they don't know how to use that information to better themselves. You see, the essence of knowledge is to empower you. It's not to disempower you. Okay, so now that you have traced where some of those negative behaviors are coming from, now you know that you can be better. You can do better.